Hey everybody, it's me, Nisi. I wanted to jump on here today on Monday, January the 13th, and I wanted to do this unboxing. I just got this in, and thanks to my brother Rondo, I saw a book out there on a video he was talking about, and I think he actually did a video on this. I gotta go back. I'm so behind, you guys, on looking at everybody's videos. I've been focused on training and working at my new position, and I'm really trying to get better about going back and circling back about supporting everybody's videos. So if I haven't said anything, it's not because I'm not watching. It's just I may log in and listen like 5 minutes and then my phone rings and I gotta stop. So I will go back and look at your content. I just want to share this really quick. The Manipulated Man, Rondo, this is you right here. It says, men have been trained and conditioned by women, not unlike the way Pavlov conditioned his dogs into becoming their slaves. And this is by Ester Vilar. So look how small this is. I'm going to try to I got so many books open right now. Timonius, I know you read a lot, dude. And I wish I could be on your level, right? I really do try to read. I crochet a lot because I'm making you guys some stuff. And I really got to finish that up. Like I've tried to do beanies. Like I love doing scarves, shawls, blankets, that type of stuff. When it comes to beanies, I always add extra rows in my rounds, and it always comes out like super big, and I have to frog it and take it apart. And so I'm really trying to find a pattern that's very simplified that I can follow, that it won't screw it up. So I'm still working. The reason why I haven't finished y'all stuff is because I was trying to make y'all hats, because I know it's freaking cold in Arizona like it is here in Texas. Long story short, I'm going to get you guys your stuff. I just need to, you might just not get any beanies. You might just get all scarves. But anyway, my point is I crochet a lot. That's how I, relax my mind at night. And I love to read. I was listening to audiobooks. I listen to books on YouTube. But my thing is, I like to feel the pages and sniff the ink. And you know what I mean? That's kind of weird, I know. But I'm one of those people that like to tab the books up and have a bookmarker and all kind of stuff. So I'm old school. I have to read. I want to flip the pages in the book, right? So, and, my thing is I just want to make sure that I support everybody and let you guys know. Let me see. I got a new bookmarker that I haven't used, so I'm going to put it in for this book, and I'm going to start this bad boy tonight. Okay? So, this is pretty interesting. It says, over 35 years have passed since the first publication of my book, The Manipulated Man, a pamphlet written in a great anger against the women's movement worldwide monopoly of opinion. The determination with which those women portrayed us as victims of men not only seemed humiliating, but also unrealistic. If someone should want to change the destiny of our sex, a wish I had then as I have today, then that someone should attempt to do so with more honesty and possibly also with a little humor. I would like to take the opportunity presented by the reissue of my book to answer two questions which I am asked again and again in the context. People often ask me if I would write this book again. Well, I find it right and proper to have done so. But seen from today's perspective, my courage in those days may only be attributed to a lack of imagination. Despite all I wrote, I could not really imagine the power I was up against. It seemed that one is only allowed to criticize women on the quiet, especially as a woman, and could only expect agreement behind closed doors. As we women have, thanks to our relatively stress-free life, a higher life expectancy than men, and consequently make up the majority of voters in Western industrial nations, no politician could afford to offend us. And the media is interested in discussing the issues involved either. Their products are financed through the advertising of consumer goods, and should we women decide to stop reading a certain newspaper or magazine as its editorial policy displeases us, then the advertisers targeted at us will also disappear. After all, it is well established that women make the majority of the purchasing decisions. Oh, my husband would agree with you guys on that. Okay, he gonna see this video. Babe, I bought this 2 weeks ago and it's just now coming in. I'm just saying. However, I had also underestimated men's fear of reevaluating their position. Yet, the more sovereignty they are losing in their professional lives, the more automatic their work, the more controlled by computers they become, the more their increasingly unemployment forces them to adopt obscure behavioral towards customers and superiors. Okay. And then it says, then the more they have to be afraid of recognition of their predicament. And the more essential it becomes to maintain the illusion that it is not they who are the slaves, but those on whose behalf they subject themselves to such an existence. As absurd as it may sound, today's men need feminists more than their wives do. Feminists are the last ones who still describe men the way they like to see themselves, as egocentric, power-obsessed, ruthless, and without inhibitions when it comes to satisfying their animalistic instincts. Therefore, the most aggressive women liberators find themselves in the strange predicament of doing more to maintain the status quo than anyone else. Without their arrogant accusations, the macho man would no longer exist, except perhaps in the movies. If the press didn't stylize men as rapturous wolves, the actual sacrificial lambs of this men's society, men themselves would no longer flock to the factories so obediently. So I haven't imagined broadly enough the isolation I would find myself in after writing this book, nor had I envisioned the consequences which it would have for my subsequent writing and even for my private life. Violent threats have not ceased to this date. A woman who defended the arch enemy, and who didn't equate domestic life with solitary confinement and who described the company of young children as a pleasure, not a burden, necessarily had to become a misogynist, even a reactionary and fascist in the eyes of the public. Had not Karl Marx determined once and for all that in an industrial society, it is us, the women, who are the most oppressed? It goes without saying, doesn't it, that someone who did not want to take part in the canonization of her own sex is also oppressed to equal wages and equal opportunities. In other words, if I had known then what I know today, I probably wouldn't have written this book. And that is precisely the reason why I am so glad to have written it. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the handful of people who have stood up for me and my work. Typically, most of them were women. The second question I am often asked is about the topically of the opinions I expressed then. To what extent is what I described over 35 years ago still relevant to the new woman and the new man? Here's a list of issues which I recognize in the original book to be men's most significant disadvantages compared to women. Men are conscripted, women are not. Men are sent to fight wars, women are not. Well, they're changing that shit. Men retire later than women, even though due to their lower life expectancy, they should have the right to retire earlier. In my case, I'm younger than my husband. My husband's going to retire before me. Okay. That didn't apply to me. Men have almost no influence over their reproduction. For males, there is neither a pill nor abortion. They can only get the children women want them to have. That's true. And then 5, men support women. Women never or only temporarily support men. I'm going to say in my perspective, I support my husband, even though we've been together, 25 years, 26 years, something like that. It has not always been gravy. It has always not been peaches and cream. But my thing is I recognize I would not be where I am today if it wasn't for the support of my husband. So I'm going to say that's not, in my case, I'm not like that. I do support my husband. I do support my man, my king. Okay. So even though men work all their lives and women work only temporary or not at all, on average, men are poorer than women. That's not true because the men that I know, all of them have money and they are more richer than the women. That don't apply to me. Okay? That don't apply to me. I got some millionaires. I know people got money and they are men. Men only borrow their children. Women can keep them as men work all their lives and women do not. Men are automatically robbed of their children in cases of separation with the reasoning they have to work. This is true. It's happening to one of my, I won't even go into personal stuff. It is true. I'll just say that. I'll say that. And then it says in closing, as one can see, if anything, the female position of power has only consolidated. Today, a career in the military is also open to women in many countries, but without conscription for all. Many achieve for themselves the right to practice their job for the same number of years as male colleagues. However, the retirement age was not increased for all of us. And now, as before, it does not occur to underprivileged to fight against the grotesque states of affairs. Only as far as the 6th point is concerned, there has been a significant change. In more entertaining spheres of work, there are more and more women who happily and willingly work and still keep their jobs despite having the children they nevertheless desire. But only a few of these women will be prepared to offer a life of comfort not only to their children, but also their children's fathers, supported by their often substantial salaries, and fewer would further be prepared in case of separation to give up their home and offspring and support the next admirer with which is left of her income. I will be taking care of my husband when he retires. We've already discussed that. We have been through points in our life where he worked and I didn't. He took care of me for a short time, and vice versa. He lost his job. He was laid off years back. Okay. I took care of him for a period of time until he got work. So we have this organic relationship to where we adjust to whatever happens, because we know teamwork is dream work. At the end of the day, he's going to support me. I'm going to support him irregardless, right? And there's been times where I've made 6 figures and made way more than he did. And there's been times where he's made way over 6 figures and made more than me. So it's almost like, and not to tell too much of our personal business, I'm just going to say this. I've always looked at it as a little competition because I've always been the one that wanted to make more than him. And every time I seem like I catch up to his ass, he just gets another $10,000 or $20,000 bump. And I'm like, shit. And he's like, it's not a competition, Carolyn. And I'm like, I know it's not a competition, but it's fun to me because I'm like, I'm coming up on your ass, boy. But then when I get my bonuses, it's like, boop, then we're even. You know what I mean? So it's fun to me. It's a fun thing, right? I mean, it's all fiat currency anyway. And I mean, you know, we're spending our lives going into these jobs and sacrificing our time when we're not really living in our true existence or our true sentient beings as we are, right? But I'm just telling you, that's how it works. And some couples don't have that type of relationship. I know people who've been married 20 years and they still got separate bank accounts and they pay bills down to half every month. And I'm just like, how can you do that? But that's their business. Last point, I'm gonna wrap this up because my phone memory's gone. It says, sadly, well, I'm out of minutes, but I will talk to you guys later. I just wanted to do this unboxing. Take care.